Good afternoon. Coming off of what we felt like, last week, probably one of our best weeks of practice, and then me going back and evaluating what we did in practice and just the tape even on Monday, looking at what we did is very disappointing to have the things that showed up on tape. There's no doubt about it. I think the biggest deal was that was very hurtful watching, and our guys are having to deal with, the coaches are having to deal with, is that, Lions beating Lions, penalties, the things that showed up in the rougher parts of the game, opportunities to make plays. We made some plays, some things happened, but the portion that you really got to look at getting cleaned up as soon and as quickly as possible is just the small details that did not show up in practice. A penalty here, a penalty there, and so collectively, that's not on players, that's not on coaches, that's on the collective whole of what we're doing, so we got to be better there. There were some guys that did some good things for us, like the way Jameson finished the game. We were productive with Saint, but when you get to a certain level, and you have to have a level of production and play at the highest level. I don't feel like we did that, and it's the same for getting ourselves prepared to go for a game. We got to be better than we were.
Talking a lot about this team being able to bounce back off losses, 12 in a row for you guys as a franchise. Speak about Dan Campbell following these weeks. What was it? What is it like? Why do you feel like he's been able to kind of turn it around and be so consistent with getting, is there a story or something you can share, anything, or being consistent after these losses?
And it's very hard to come back in after a tough loss. And usually, as people come into the building, one of the first people, things that are noticed usually is the head football coach and his mentality, whether it's after a win or after a loss. I think the biggest deal with Dan is he's consistent in who he is. The expectations are not created by the outside world, it's really created by his own standard. So as you look at him and you go into the week, we're right back to work. But at the same time, we do have an understanding of the urgency of what we need to get done. I just think he's very urgent in the way that he attacks things. He doesn't let guys sit on it for a day or two. If he has conversations with players and coaches, he has them immediately following the game or the next day of the game. So we try to get right to the point, not let it linger on, or just get to the point so we can start working as quickly as we can to get it fixed for the next time we've gone out. I didn't know that stat. That's a hell of a stat. But, he's done a really, really good job of coming in the building the next day, good or bad.
When the protection issues are what they were, how much more frustrating is it when your guys drop passes maybe that they should have had? I don't know. Is there anything extra that needs to be said when, they don't finish those plays?
Yeah, it's like I said before, we have the chance to finish the sentence. So when you don't finish the sentence, it doesn't matter really what's happening in the sentence. A lot of people can do everything right. It can be punctuated right. It can be well written. It can be perfectly set up. And then you don't finish it. That's an issue, especially when the opportunities to create and keep drives going. Luckily we had a chance to extend and score on one of those plays that weren't made in the back of the end zone. And then we had another opportunity on the shallow cross to make a play after that. But we got to get to the point where those are turning into more opportunities and not just maybe a touchdown on a run 2 plays later. Those are opportunities to set up the next play that we had, ready down in the red zone or ready in the fringe area. So we got to make all those plays. There's no doubt about it. And if just from a protection standpoint, that's a job that has to be done. But our job, it has to be done. Like, there's a lot of different things that are going on in there. But when you're at the point of attack and you're in a one-on-one with the football and somebody's on you, you got to make contested plays. You got to make plays that may be a little bit off. That's why that's why we're here. That's why it's the National Football League. It's not college. It's not high school. Plays have to be made.
We're basically at the midpoint of the season here, 8 games, 9 weeks in. What do you like best about what your unit has done, and where do you see the most room for improvement here in the second half?
So the top of the room, what we're doing right now is that our run game understanding and responsibilities. I love where we are right now. Our details, our depths of routes, even our alignments have really been on point. Those are the things that I want to continue to make sure that we do, schematically doing what, coach is asking us to do and being in those right spots. The places that I would love to be better is that when we do get an opportunity, whether it's, far and few between, we make them all. And we're not just making them and going to the ground. I want to see our run after catch be like it was a couple of games ago, where we are making the plays and making the most of it, and making sure that our brand of football is exactly what we say and what we talk about constantly. The other piece of it is I love where, mentality-wise, where some of our young guys are. But what I would like to see is just the progression of some of those young guys and continue to grow the trust with coach and those young guys and seeing them in more situations, which I think they can be helpful, and they're earning it. But collectively, what I do like is the way they practice. Our mental errors haven't been high at all. They've been where they're supposed to be for the most part. But we just got to continue to find a way to push higher when we do get those opportunities to make more of those plays.
Scottie, Dan said yesterday that he wants to get Isaac more involved this week. Just 3 snaps for him last week. What's been the challenge of trying to find a role for him in an obviously loaded offense, and how do you guys kind of balance that with him moving forward?
Well, last week, I think, with what Coach put together and, the plan that was put together, this was a team that you could settle them down a little bit more in base personnel, meaning 12 personnel, which you could see there's a difference in what they were doing in 12 personnel on first, second down to what they moved to on third down when you add the third receiver into the game. Now you start to get into more of your exotic pressures. You can get to different things. So the plan was there. It's just a little bit different. But I do think that, there are opportunities, for him. And when we say loaded, the issue is more about, when the opportunities present themselves, getting extended drives. You can't have 3 and outs and then ask questions why a guy's not getting maybe this time. Maybe he was on the call sheet for that drive. Maybe there was something that coach was working on for that drive that we didn't get to because, for one reason or another, a penalty that sets us back, or a play that's not made, or a run that's not made, or something that didn't go the right way, didn't show up. So the biggest thing, the way that we are able to get him more involved is, we got to extend on third down. We've got to be better extended on third down. And then when we do get to teams that we can put multiple personnel groupings out there and control what they're doing, because that's really what you're looking at is how do you lock guys in to being more static, being more predictable with different personnel groupings. And when you get to those personnel groupings and they do show up the way they did last week and those some opportunities, you got to make those plays so that you can now control the game versus them controlling the game on third down and keeping certain guys in and out of the game.
I think I asked you about this player earlier this year, but there was 2 negative plays where Khalif Raymond had monster blocks, knocked Van Ginkel off his feet, and then on the Montgomery run, the third down, he essentially took out 2 guys. Has Raymond taken that element of his game to a different level this year? And how, why, what kind of trust has he gained in you in that regard?
Yeah, I didn't know that about him before going into the room. I did know that he was, a very valuable piece of our offense, and especially in the pass game, you can use him to separate when you get man-to-man games and you get in situations where. But what I'm realizing now is just that there's a physical element to him because of how strong he is, and because he is, leveraged on a lot of the defenders that he runs into. But it's just his physical strength. He has taken that to another level, and is to a point of where now, instead of beating up Saint or beating up, J-Mo or beating up even Isaac in certain situations, we got 4 guys that can go take on some of that. But what we really like about him is that the way he finishes, not just going to hit those blocks, but finishes those blocks. 1 guy down is not enough. The big play that, the third down call, which was a huge call, was a great call on the down around play to David there. I mean, if you did pay attention to that and you see him, it wasn't that he just blocked 1 guy. I thought it was going to be the touchdown block, the second block that kind of knocked the guy into him. So yeah, he's taking his game to another level, and that's exactly what we expect. That's the personality of the room. They know that the expectation that I have for them because of my connection to the running back room and my connection to them is going to be the same. When our backs don't do something that won't benefit our receivers, I'm probably the guy in the building that can talk to both sides of it. So we expect a lot from each other.
Guys, time for 2 more, please.
Can you speak to how the interior pressure particularly affects this passing game because it is such a timing-based rhythm system?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I could say that affect things, but the number one thing is timing. It is timing and making sure that we can get, when we need to get our check downs out, we can get our check downs out to hold backers. So there's a lot of detail that goes into that. And but the other thing is that when you do stop the interior pressure, all you have to do is you got to stop it early in the game. Once you stop it early in the game, it goes away, because now those check downs are able to get out instead of being in the backfield. And then now the proper spacing that you can have between the first and second level when we're running our daggers, when we're running our strikes, those areas in the field that we are really timed up, it makes it a lot easier for JG to be able to see those windows and gaps. So we got to do a good job of making sure that our interior pressures hold off with our backs and our O-line, our tight ends, even when we're using receivers on our bats and our nudges on the edges. We got to do a good job of making sure we firm that up, because that is a difficult deal for a quarterback to just have it right in your face. But a lot of people think it's the pressure. It's really not the pressure. It's really the fact that there's no separation between the second level and third level defenders when we're wrapping into those areas.
So there's nothing really schematically. Maybe you need to adjust, but it's just basically
there's definitely some things schematically that we can do and that we will do to be helpful to get maybe a check down out quicker, maybe something schematically that we can do and that we saw in the game that should have occurred that did not occur. Yeah, there are.
Good afternoon. Let's just jump right into questions.
Curious.
If there are none, then I've got a little work to do, but go ahead.
I'm curious how you would define the identity of the passing game at this stage of the season, David.
I typically sidestep identity questions, but what I could say so far, right, the frustrating part is that we are explosive but inefficient. We're never out of a game. The guys that we have, I mean, we're one play away from scoring a touchdown no matter where we snap the ball. That remains to be true. It's the efficiency of us just getting positive plays. Too many negatives, too many drop passes, too many little mistakes, too many 2nd and 10s, too many 3rd and 9s for us to be the team that we're capable of. So I would say that for where we are specifically in the passing game, but really for us offensively, as we've talked as a staff, we're inefficient. We're explosive. When we do it all right, we are fun to watch. But our charge right now from the head coach on down is to play our brand of football, which is physical, with great technique and great effort. And I think we'll see the results that we're looking for.
Sorry to interrupt there.
Sure.
And you actually kind of made the point I was going to, because that's also true in the run game, right? Like, it's explosive but inefficient. So we've talked about this the past couple of weeks. Like, it's just one guy here, one guy here, one guy here. When it is that, when it is like a revolving door of just little things with different personnel, like, how difficult is that to fix?
Well, the most important thing is that you don't overreact. Once again, from ownership on down, we got a bunch of truth tellers in this building, even to the players, right? And there's no mistaking why this play broke down, why this play broke down. So the key is to not overreact. The key is to take a look at it and say, we are inefficient. We're not playing our best football. And we're a half game out of first place in our division. So the charge for us is to continue to clean things up, right? This game is coached and played by human beings. There are going to be errors. We have to battle against those critical errors, and we have to battle against the volume of errors. If we can cut our errors down and give our 2 running backs space in the run game to crack the line of scrimmage, we all know what can happen. When our quarterback has time, we all know what can happen. So that's our charge on all of us, is run game to make sure that, hey, we get our guys to and through the line of scrimmage. Pass game wise, hey, give our quarterback some time, and we all know what he can do, and these guys that we have outside, we know what they can do. So more so than any opponent we've faced the entire year, it's really just us finding a groove, and I've been accused of this too much. I'm a big basketball fan. I love basketball, and we're a basketball team right now that's hitting threes, and we're hitting our layups, but our mid-range is not great, right? So when you hit a bunch of threes, sometimes it can mask some other things. And we start hitting our jumpers, now we'll be who we want to be. So it's all about us. It's all about cleaning things up. It's all about using great technique and playing with great effort and finding a rhythm. And the positive thing for me, like I said, we're half game out of first place in our division, and this is the time. This is the time to start hitting our groove. Start hitting our groove. Now, don't bite. Nobody hits the panic button. Let's get back into our technique. Let's do the things we're supposed to do. Let's find some kind of a rhythm, and then this season can start to go where we want it to go.
Who was your favorite basketball player growing up?
Oh, it's not even close. Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson. And for me, it was the positive, is the personality, the smile, the energy, but it was also fast paced. We're getting a rebound and we're going, right? And when this offense is humming, and we're like those Lakers team from the 80s now. No offense to the bad boys. No offense at all. I was here during the bad boys era. I love that too. But when I think of us as an offense, that's what I think about. I mean, we could be running down and dishing, and who knows who's going to get the dunk, who knows who's going to spot up and get the three. But now it's just for us to do the little things so that we can get on a roll.
Is there a comfort in knowing that you've done it before?
No question. And that's why you don't panic. If you're with a bunch of players and coaches that hadn't been through it before, then you're kind of worried, like, can we fight through this? We came out and laid an egg game one and went on a nice little run. You go on a run like that 2 more times, and we're where we're supposed to be. I've heard people say this before, like the goal is not to go undefeated. When you lose or when you don't play poorly, the most important thing you do is you learn lessons from those and you don't repeat the same mistakes. Don't repeat the same errors. We had 2 charges from our head coach early on, right? Battle to win the division. That's what we're aiming toward, trying to win the division. And number 2, get better every week. Right? Win or lose, we got to get better than we were the week before.
What was Jared's mentality coming out of the game on Sunday? How did he react to? Obviously, he faced a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and I don't want to speak for Jared, but I mean, he's a leader, and he doesn't make any excuses. He doesn't want any excuses. But he, like the rest of our guys, you go back through our film, and the few drives in the game where we just did our jobs and executed, we ran down the field. So that's, once again, the charge on all of us. And Jared would say, himself included, there's another level. I mean, there are multiple levels that we can raise this offense. And we've seen it. We've seen it in glimpses. It's time now, this part in the season, for us to be above the line. There are teams that make the playoffs and teams that don't. We got to get on that above the line. And as we start to play our brand of football, we're trying to be the best. And that's what we're working towards.
David, this team hasn't lost back-to-back games in 3 years. I know it's your first year here, but you've been here now for 2 weeks after a loss. This is your third. Just how have you seen this coaching staff and this team respond to losses in weeks like this one?
Once again, I mean, Coach Campbell is as good as there is. We always turn inward. What can we do better? And Coach says it all the time. He says it to you all. He starts with himself. What can I do better? And then everybody else. You look at what you can do better, and let's all come together and be better versions of ourselves than we were the week before. We don't shy away from criticism, none of us. Because if you want to get better, you have to take that criticism. And we all have to strive to be better than we were last week. Every single person, every single player, every single coach. So that's the comfort level with where we are, is that we don't worry about the outside narratives. They all come and go. Sometimes when you're getting pats on the back and you're not playing well, you still can't listen to the positive stuff either. Where we're trying to go and what we're trying to do, it's about who we have in this building. We got the right people in this building, and now it's up to us to find that groove again like we had a few weeks ago. We were humming pretty good a few weeks ago. So we're not that far away from it. And we all know, I mean, we're 1 block away from Gibby and Demo taking the ball to the house, right? We're one more second of protection from our game changers on the outside changing the game. So that's where we're looking at it. We're not as far away as it looks, but sometimes the hardest, most difficult part of what we do is to get that much better. And if we're that much better on every play, we'll get closer to our goal.
Guys, time for 2 more, please.
In training camp, you didn't really want the spotlight on you. I think turning down some interview requests and just coming to be the part of the piece that you wanted to be here, something we can all respect. But why take such a backseat role here? And what has it been like personally from a guy who's been a successful head coach to be a part of an organization like this under Dan Campbell?
So not sharing anybody's private information, but Coach Campbell said something. He said it publicly too, but he said it privately to us when he was the interim head coach, and then went back to being an assistant. And his thought was, okay, how can I be the assistant that I would have wanted as a head coach? And I've taken the exact same role. Okay, now I'm in this role. How would I want someone to do this role for me as a head coach? So that's been my approach. I took this job here also because I want a chance to contribute and a chance to learn. I've learned a lot of things from Coach Campbell, a lot of things from a lot of guys in the offensive staff, and I just want to be part of this. And we've got special people in this building, and that's what my focus is. So it's not about me taking a backseat or any of that stuff. It's about me coming in and being a part of this. They've got something that's special now and has a chance to be special for a long time. So for us to just play better football.
The speed and space weapons you have on this offense, it's no surprise that the screen game is important, but it does seem like defenses are sitting on it a little bit more. I'm just wondering how much of the stuff that happens before the ball comes out, the selling by the offensive lineman, like how much better does that need to be to make that operation work?
The question is great, and you can apply it to absolutely every single part of our offense right now. When we do it well, second play of the game, huge big screen to Laporta. A little bit later, screen for -4, -3. A little bit later than that, screen to St. Brown, gain of 6. So that's just part of us being better at what we do. We've got great screen components. We've got great drop back components. We've got great run components, but it still just boils down to everybody on every play doing their job to the best of their ability. The screen game, the run game, the first down efficiency, the third down efficiency, the red zone efficiency, it's all there and it's all the same, which we have such great comfort level about where we are right now. I didn't say we're happy about where we are. But we have the guys in the rooms that have done it and done it well. And now it's us to not panic, but at the same time, there's a sense of urgency. It's time for the good football teams to start playing good football. If we want to be one of those, it's time for us to get this thing going. November going into December. This is it's moving month or whatever you want to call it, but it's time for those teams to separate. And we want to be on the right side of that line.
Thanks, guys. Last one, Jeremy. You mentioned improving every week, and that seems to be the goal across the board here. Is there a specific part of the passing offense that you've seen make significant progress throughout the season so far?
I would say it's been a jagged line, right? It's been, deep passing early, we were hitting them all, and then we were missing them. Intermediate passing, we were great, and then we're, So that's, once again, just on our technique, our consistency, our fundamentals, and I believe in momentum. I believe there's momentum in the wrong direction. I believe there's momentum in the right direction. And when you have a good team with people in the building who work extremely hard, who trust each other and know how to push each other, sometimes you just need that next jumper to fall. And that's what I feel like we're waiting for. We get a couple more of those jumpers, and we'll start seeing the Lions start playing like the Lions.